Hello, everyone. It is Sunday, June 23rd. It is Throwing Light. We are actually at 7:30 p.m. Central Time right now. And our guest, Keron the Boypup, is going to be here. And it is 8:30 where he is in Pennsylvania. But before we get started, remember, if you're not throwing light, you're not acting right. This was inspired by AtX.org. Please visit them and donate and learn about what they do to our community, or not do, but what they provide for our community, such as health services, mental services. They even have a food bank. So if you want to help keep this community here in Austin thriving, please support our local organizations like Ashwell. And even if you enjoy throwing light and you live somewhere else, hey, please help Asheville out there, my family. And we want them to succeed because they provide so much to our community. With that being said, let's go ahead and bring on our next guest, one of my IML siblings. We just went through IML. Someone that I had the honor of seeing on the stage at MAL, which is Mid-Atlantic Leather contest, if you aren't familiar with that. And I'll save all my praises for during the interview, but I am with great pleasure excited very much to bring on my IML class 46 sibling, Keron the Boypup. How are you tonight?
I'm doing good. It was today's the closure of a great weekend. We celebrated with my Leather family. It was one of my sir's birthdays, so we went camping. We were together, spending just quality time, relaxing. Also, we have a hot heat wave here in the Northeast, so we're drenched in sweat, but we're still surviving. And we also had our bluff social tonight, so it was a great weekend.
So what's the weather like right there? It's like what's hot for you?
What?
How hot is it?
I think today we reached something like 96. But it's
Oh,
very humid. It's very humid.
That's so cute.
We're not you
Degrees.
we're not
It's where it's like 132, so you don't have to. Hell,
but
you know
we're
that
not used to that.
literally, it's like Texas is like maybe just a step above hell, like literally. In so
Yeah,
many different
I know
ways.
about that. This is why I'm still rescheduling coming down there. The funny
Fair
thing,
enough.
I'm a Southern boy because I was born and I grew up in Sicily, so I'm supposed to be resistant to hot weather. I don't think it didn't work for me. I'm still suffering a lot.
It can get really rough. You are Mr. Mayhem Leather 2023, and you will be Mr. Mayhem Leather 2024. For people
Yes.
who've had lots of guests on the show, we've had a lot of title holders on the show. Explain to the community and all those that are watching what Mayhem means and where you representing that title.
So the Mayhem titles, there are two titles, Mr. Mayhem Leather, Mr. Mayhem Leather Bear. They come from an event called Bears, Bikers, and Mayhem that for long history has been in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania for a long time. And it represents a national title attached to the event. From next year, is going to be in Baltimore, Maryland. Why I'm keeping the title is because unfortunately, due to logistic issues, this year the event didn't happen. So we took the decision. I took the decision to keep it going, keeping my title, keep working, keep doing my things, and so I'm gonna have a Sash Kid next year. I have to wait, but it's gonna happen, and it's gonna be the last weekend of May, 2025.
And I don't want to. I'm going to keep the things that we talked about personally. I'm not going to ask you questions in front of everybody, but you will be having the sash for. I'm not going to go into IML again and all that stuff. We'll save that for friendship conversation. We don't need to talk about your strategy.
Oh, as an attendant, I'll go back because we can say this. I'm scheduling to go back to IML, but not to compete.
Okay.
We did it. I'm fine with that.
Wait, no. So you're not going to go
I'm
back.
going back just as a no. I'm going back to IML just as a like everybody else. I just wanna. I feel now it's like being back in the family.
Well, I'm doing the same thing. I'm, I might,
Yeah,
maybe help. If I can help IML next year out in any way, I would like to be as involved as possible. To be honest with you, because it really is an
yeah,
amazing. So yeah, I have to go back. And we are feeling the same. There is a need to go back, and I think that's where the resolution of it is. Because right now we're in the spotlight. We are part of the current class. But going and see that transition happen and to understand the magic, but to also learn that it's what you do after the competition, because it's a contest of winners. And
yeah.
witnessed that. There was just so much magic and talent, and so many amazing people. And yeah, I mean, Kieran, what was
Well, for me, well, some of us in the class think about Fire Daddy Can, that now is Mr. Mid Atlantic Leather, Jordan, Mr. Connecticut. This was our third time. This was our third contest. And, I look at myself like 1 year back, which was when I got my title. And when I competed for Mid Atlantic Leather, and I ended up first runner up, and I saw the difference. The magic was different. And I'm an overthinker. I build anxiety around things that don't even exist. But for IML, that anxiety didn't exist at all, because we were already connected as siblings. We had our chat, we had our channels, and we were so eager to meet each other and living this experience that I didn't feel it. I didn't feel the anxiety. Actually, I was so filled with joy and happiness, and, all the energy that we were giving to each other. And even those moments that maybe one of us was, shaking a little bit, there was always one of us or a group of us tackling that moment and being supportive. So that magic, I would say I heard about it. All of us heard about it. That anticipation and the people that already did it, telling stories. But if you don't live it, you would not understand the full magic that happens there. And it's something that I think, like, it's beyond, the final prize, the podium, the top 20. It's about the experience, and what actually we're doing after, because we know that the actual job starts after IML, and what we're gonna do, you know, uh, from this moment on.
I wanna just be so on board with the anxiety going away, but unfortunately I drew contestant number one. So just remember, I needed a lot of it. I needed a lot of attention during IML, and there was a lot of shaking. So, but anyway,
Yeah,
no,
we know what's coming.
I didn't know. No one knew it was, but it did make it a magical experience for me. But seeing you in a contest and seeing how you performed, um, you know, um, I don't think the contest ends up playing out in any way that anyone expects ever. You can't go in and be like, this person's going to, like, it doesn't, because a contest setting is very different than our day to day lives in the community. It's literally just this component of how polished you are, I guess, basically. And I have learned that I need more polish for the contest circuit. Um, but I still have everything I need to be a great Leatherman. And I think I learned that by going through IML, but also being around all these other great people that had different things to bring to the table. And we got to showcase what we got to showcase. But I remember seeing you at Mid Atlantic Leather, and knowing both you and Ken, I really, and this is no shade to Ken whatsoever, I thought you were going to win. I did, and I love Ken, and Ken is fantastic, and he's an individual beyond like no other. Fire Daddy Ken, our current Mid Atlantic Leather, my other, who is also my brother, my sibling. But your energy and your confidence on stage, I'm like, being that I got the opportunity to meet so many of you before, I had ideas of you, and I had these ideas of how y'all would probably perform in the contest setting. I was always like in my head, I'm like, fuck, Keron's gonna kill Paxton personality. He's gonna, because I that was not my strong suit in the competition. And so, I'm like, interview is fine, but it just you because immediately when that was over, I contacted you about doing throwing like pretty early on. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, I need to get this person on here. So I
Well,
know I
the
wanted you, but it took that, that's how long it took for me to get you. But I got
well
you.
the difference, I would say that, like, you saw me at Mid Atlantic, and that was a very focused moment for me. And the difference, I would say that for IML was that we it was a contest of winners. So we each one of us has something to bring, and but as we always said, it's not the number that we got at the end of everything when we found out if we wanted to know which was our position is not what defined us. So yeah, that definitely, we gave everything. But the great thing, I think, is that we gave ourselves. So what people saw is ourselves. And it was amazing seeing, like, even while we were changing and, finding out what gear that person was gonna wear, it was actually not with the anxiety of, oh, the gear looks better than mine. No, it was actually more like, oh, I love the way that you are expressing this moment while I'm doing this in this other way. So it was so great because we were able to showcase as a class uh, who are today the leather people and what we want to bring in the community. It can be anything, and we were 100% ourselves. I think that was so great and so powerful. And so I had people like, I do these things, and I swear I never think about it. It comes out naturally when I'm on stage, and is that I open my arms and I kind of have this sort of hug, and it's a dual thing. It's me hugging the people, but it's also like collecting all the energy from the people. Um, brothers and siblings, they saw me in the backstage. They're like, you seems kind of low energy backstage, but the moment that you jump on stage, you're like super energy, because actually are the people. When I hear the people in the crowd, that immediately recharge me, and I'm like, oh, I'm having a lot of fun. So that's I think that's a good summary of what the experience was. And we went there, we knew the moment that we were in the same room, we knew that it was the new IML in the room. We knew that there were the top 20 in the room. So the final position is not, they have to, we're there. It's part of the game. They have to give us scores. And but I definitely, I felt completely different than other contests, and very much more realized. And like, this is me, like what I'm giving to you, what I'm giving to my siblings, what I'm giving to the people, what I'm giving to the judges. This is me 100%. It took 1 year of work to come from the a little bit clumsy boy on stage that suddenly became Mr. Mayhem, because I was not thinking to win when I got my title. I thought my first runner-up, Scott Merrick, was gonna win, and it was a big surprise. If people goes on my social, they can see there is a video of me completely cracking on stage and crying. Uh, so it was a 1 year, 1 year work and growing and meeting people and getting inspired by people. And so, when we step on that stage, one thing that I kept in mind was like, I hope that, that guy, that person in the corner, the new kids in the corner see us and they get inspired, not just by me, but by all 59 of us. And they can feel confident, they can feel beautiful, they can feel they can be in the same place where we are right now, just the way they are, not because they have to copy us, not because they have to be like us or look like us, but just because they want to be themselves. And that was actually what inspired me in first place. And that happened in when I went to Mid Atlantic Leather 2022. No, sorry, my bad. 2023. Yes, that was inspired me. I saw them on stage, and I'm like, oh, this is not what I thought. This is not like six packs and just cute smiles. There is something bigger, and that what inspired me.
Good point. It's weird. I just got to judge my first competition this weekend, the
Oh
Mr.
yeah.
So it's weird it was very hard. And I was on the judging panel with Jack Thompson and, IML winners. Chris Gonzalez was on the judging panel. Like they've been doing this for a minute because of how well they have done in the community. And so, but I'm current. I still have 4 months of my SASH time left. And so I'm in Austin, being able to, play a part in picking another Texas title holder to add to our family. I really wanted to be a part of that. I'm glad I got to do that. And it was great also now to see the difficulty in judging, being on that side
Mhm.
of the table. And I can see how it can be very difficult to judge 59 people because it was hard to judge four. And, yeah. You bring a lot of good points. It was nice being and what a lot of people and I'm going to do an IML special where I'm going to have a group of us and they're talking about the whole experience. But to your point of, when you look at it, there were 59 distinct personalities, body types, people, you know, identifying various different ways, expressing themselves very different ways. Um, there were moments, I am going to agree with you. I was concerned a little bit about not bringing as much leather to the contest. And you hear some about the leather. I learned though how because I'm fairly new in the community, how I have time to develop my aesthetic and get to a place and have a relationship with leather where I know what feels good on my body and what I feel comfortable in. And I'm just not there yet. And I'm okay. And it took IML to take me there, but I was still able to compete on that stage. And I still had the power to get to that level. And now I have even more power. We all have power. We all have this year to gloat over being the best of the nation, of the world. Um, and so to go more into your point about feeling comfortable, yes, at some point there was just this relaxation moment where you know what, I'm here with what I got. This is a competition, but I am not in competition with these people. These are my siblings. We are all going through the same experience for a lot of the same reasons. And we want to be there to get through this because it's a very, very, very emotional. It is very, very intense. It happens. It goes by fast. But it feels at times like when you're waiting, it got all the waiting we had to do. That.
Yeah,
uh,
that was. I think the worst was the waiting like
for
compared to the
Sunday,
call time. It was like, and now we have to wait, sitting down, and but it was great because we couldn't know each other better and spending time together. So yeah,
we
but
literally
waiting was a
wait,
thing.
what people might not understand. Like there was no like show up to rehearsal. Okay, we're done rehearsal. Go blah blah blah. It was like okay, rehearsal. Well, you guys got to stay in this room until it's time.
Yeah, I mean, I think
It's
that the
like, well, you
best.
guys got to stay in this room for 6 hours until the competition.
Yeah, right. Yeah. No, the great thing, I think that one of the moments that it's really engraved in my soul is actually the last night when, we went to the venue, to the conference center, and we did the rehearsal. And after the rehearsal, there was okay, we had food, whatever, but
It
there
was
was the waiting
by the way.
time
It was
before starting it was so good, right? I still
I
remember that.
was
And
they weren't going to give us any meal or something. Wasn't that a conversation? I don't know. Or they weren't going to
Well,
be.
to be honest, if I want to be honest, that like I indulged too much on those cannolis, and the corset vest that I was wearing was slightly tighter than when I remember.
Cannolis, the cannolis,
But
everyone, there were cannolis there.
yeah, right. But that, that moment, uh, I compared that backstage moment, waiting for the signal to like start to get dressed, with the night before, the Friday night. So the Friday night, for the Paxton personality, we were very chatty and very, funny, and there was a lot of confusion in the room. While that night, I can tell that there was a moment, especially when we started getting ready, no one was talking. We were, of course, we were all tense, and we were tense out of, I would say today, nothing in a good way, because the games were done. So, we would just have to wait and learn who made top 20. But in that silence, there was no silence, because there was all this sounds of, belts and leather and tingling and people screaming Andler and having three people on you helping you to get dressed. That was beautiful, because we were all so connected in that moment. There was no one distracted, or no one doing something else. It was like we were like a one body doing the same thing. And that, I think that was one of the most emotional moments, for me, getting ready for the last moment on stage. Uh,
Yeah,
Partially also because I was not breathing due to
I,
the,
I
to the
was
corset vest. But I think that was beautiful. And I remember it was very magical.
that
And
wait,
it was,
the waiting for the top 20, man. That was the toughest wait. Um, I will say what I did enjoy about being in that, going through that context of proximity, when we had our free time, just, seeing each other, checking on each other. I'm excited to go back next year, not as a contestant though. It was emotional for me, and I wanted to make sure that the contest didn't prevent me from getting to know amazing people that could be in my life forever. And that's what I have. It really has pushed me into opening up and being okay with love, and letting people love me loving people that care about me. I don't think at any, even before, y'all have never made me feel like a number placement. It's never been about that. And it goes away, right? It really just goes away. Yeah, Jamal's the winner, and and Jamal is very much there. I mean, he's still a part of his class, and he interacts with us.
I told this to him. We had a call, I think a couple of weeks after. It was a check-in call, as we did among the others. And, I want to be sure, there's a lot of, yeah, he has this huge spotlight on him, and I love him so much. Uh, and I told him, like, I'm happy that you're, still, you're with us. And it was like, yeah, sure, I'm always going to be part of the class. And I'm saying this because I think it's important, also for the future, the fact that the moment that there is a title holder, this is not just IML in general. If anyone wins a title, and there was a class, there was a group of people, those people belongs to your life anyway. Like, I still chat and check in on my Mayhem's brother, because we went through that experience together. I still chat with my MAL brothers, because we went through that experience together. Of course, our life is busy. We have a lot of things, personal or community wise. So, but when it's possible, or when we can meet, there was a I had a very I had a very sweet moment at Claw in Cleveland this year, because one of my Mayhem brothers, we haven't seen each other for 1 year, because he lives in Michigan and I live here. And I knew he was there, And he told me, "Oh, I'm at the market." So okay, I'm trying to find this person, and he was trying something. So he had one of the vendors holding a mirror in front of him, and I popped in the back, so my head jumped in the mirror, and we had this so sweet, magical moment. So that's actually what I brought home from each and one experience, and of course, IML was the biggest, was bringing back these huge connection, this huge network of people. Then now they're not just people that I spend a weekend with. Because if I wanted to spend a weekend, I can go to so many different events and doing so many different things. But I have 58 siblings that I know that if I'm in that city at that event, something happens, I know those people will be there for me and I will be there for them. So that connection is something that no one can take away from us. And I think that's the final prize for all of us. Of course, Jamal is the new IML, and I love that. Uh, Especially because as a pop, seeing someone with a pop title becoming the new IML, that was very powerful for the pop and pet community. Uh, but at the same time, I know I think all of us went on with a prize, and aside from our medallion and those connections that will last forever, you know.
I definitely, they talk about IMO drop, like kind of going into depression and things. The only time it hurt was, and we all bonded in different things, and I bonded with a lot of different people, and I'm sure that some of us are going to become closer even beyond that. But the actual like leaving the hotel away from everything and going back and
Mm.
like, oh my god, like I'm going like and I'm just like, I hope I was enjoyable as a sibling in this class. I just wanted, even through my anxiety and, you know, fears, I overcame them. And I just didn't want to, I just want to make sure that people knew I wanted the friendships. I wanted um, you know, I went to IML. It was a magical thing to think, yeah, I could win IML, but there were these realities in my head that was like, what I really need is for these people to believe in what I have to offer. And it doesn't need to be a win for them to give me that respect. And as many people see me doing, it only put a fire under my ass to make people understand that I am here to stay. I'm not here just for a sash. And I think proving that means even more than winning the competition, because people are like, yeah, so this person, came to IML, presented him or herself or whoever, and said they were going to do this, and they are walking their words, and I think that's when people respect you. And so everybody is waiting to see what you do after IML. That's really what their eyes, they're like, who's going to fall off, who's going to stay in contact, who's going to keep relationships, who's going to keep doing the work they said they were going to do. This is really the period, this is the period that people are watching and seeing, because let's be realistic. I would love to say that all 59 of us are going to be prominent and give all for the rest of our lives. But that's not going to be the case. In our class, there are probably it might be 20 of us that are the all-stars that take this experience and make it power us up. Um, and I'm hoping that you have that perspective. I have the same perspective that you have, and I'm glad to hear it. And like I said, I have 58 siblings. Some I know, some I'm growing with, some I'm getting to know, some I haven't talked to. And it's not a fault, but I do have that experience with them. And if we are to be able to connect in the future, I want it. I want it. But there are a lot of dynamics that go along in the competition that people don't understand. So because we're also grouped off. And so not only are we having this bond of us, oh, we do have to have these actual like other bonds that go a little bit more close. So, but even in that, and then you might within that group, the 10 people, there's so many things and there's so many dynamics. There are a lot of people that I bonded with that were not in my group. There were some that I did that were in my group. So
Yeah, that,
uh, like I remember me and you being in the room together right after they announced top 20. And I was just kind of like, I don't know, I was just thinking, I was like, wow, Keron. And I was because I was just kind of like, Keron's back here. And I'm like, it just, yeah, I don't know. It's, some people, it just, there's a lot of people in that competition and people place where they are. But I think you're a phenomenal asset. I don't want to say asset like you're a but like you're a computer or something. I mean like I see you. I saw you before IML. That's you know what I'm saying, like you have longevity. There's no doubt that you're going to disappear or go away. Like you were doing the same energy I have where we are looking at this as an opportunity to like maximize our potential. And
but that was the thing.
well, I think it would be unfortunate. I don't know this. I would it would be unfortunate if um there's anyone in our class who feels that they have less value because they don't have the sash. And I don't know. I don't know if anybody feels that, but you never know. And I just hope that they don't let look, we have our handlers in there and they're all in there for our own emotional health and making sure that we understand that this is the whole experience is the win here. And yes, there will be an international Mr. Leather, but like this is not a break moment. It's a make moment. Because you
Yeah,
have 10 fucking strong IML classmates that do just as much as the first place does. You know what I'm saying?
so what happened to me, so of course, I was on stage like everybody else, and top 20 names starting coming out. And every time that a name was coming out, I was so just for people to know, we had spots on the stage. Okay, the people cannot see, but there are places where we have to go, and like there are signs with the tape, whatever. Uh, I was counting. I was counting the crosses on the stage to see how many spaces were left. And when I didn't hear my name, I kept smiling, and I went off stage. And it was a weird sensation at the very beginning. I went very numb in the terms of I was not neither sad, neither upset. I was literally not feeling anything. It was completely numb. And I remember um, some of us, started packing things or getting undressed, whatever. And I didn't do that. I kind of stand there as I stood there in the room. I check on my phone. I want to make sure my sirs were okay. And I remember that Leslie Anderson came in the area, and I look at them, and I just we hugged. And the weird thing, that moment in the back, they were projecting the Leather Archives video, for the master campaign, for the capital campaign, a fundraiser. And while I was seeing that video from the backstage, I kind of started smiling. Like it was like not even wanted. It was kind of sort of inner thing. Because in that moment, I remembered what I had to do and what was the work that I had to do. And I remember I looked at Leslie Anderson and I told them, like, smiling, crying. It was a mix of things. And I remember saying, I know what I have to do. I'm not upset. I know what I have to do. And I went outside, still, full dressed up, because I wanted to hug my sirs, hug my people. And I was super smiley. And it took me a strong 30, 40 minutes convincing people that I was not upset and I was happy. And after, that night, uh, I changed my clothes. I want to be comfortable, but I I waited to know what the new IML was, and I remember I was so happy when I heard Jamal's name that I screamed so much that I scratched my voice. It took me more than 10 days to have my voice back. But the real cathartic moment was not the after party, was not the sorry, the not the after party, oh my God. The victory party, which we had a lot of fun. But it was the Monday. Monday, we had that moment where we were able to share our speeches. And I went there with the idea of not sharing it. My idea was like, oh, I'm going to post that on social media. I'm going to post the script on that. I'm not going to say it. But after hearing the others, I was like, I'm going to do it. And of course, it was not like with the same. I was tired. My voice was scratched, but it was not with the same, energy that would have been on stage. But I was so happy that I could say that in front of the others. And after I posted it, I made it public. It was important, and that was the final moment for me. And the other thing that I did was I changed my flight. I stayed one night more. Um, because I packed in a sort of rush because we have to check out from the room. We had this moment with the others. I have to go collect my poster and my envelope. So it was a sort of rush that morning that didn't allow me to collect and pack my emotions. So I was like, I need an extra day. So I changed my flight and I asked one of our siblings, my first, if I could stay over his room. And well, what it did was, I said, we went out for lunch, whatever, but what I did was staying in the room. Not because, not because I'm not a person that tend to isolate, but I needed the silence to really put together my emotions and making sure that I was packing all of them to go back home and I was not leaving anything behind. There were no second thoughts, and I never had second thoughts at IML. And I think that extra day helped me to really, really, really pack correctly my emotions to go back home. And the week after, actually, it was so busy at work that I barely had time to think about, the IML experience. But at the end of the day, I'm glad I rescheduled my flight. I'm glad that I had time to hang out with people after the competition. I was happy that I took my own time, and I think these helped me to process everything. But as I say, not because I have regrets, mostly because there were so many emotions that really, really it needed a moment to pack them as well.
That makes sense. No, I get it. I
And
haven't off, but it took me a while. I stayed busy, just not processing, but I got to. But all right, Kieran, we are towards the end of the show, and at the end of the show, I ask everybody the same question. Are you ready for that question,
I'm
Kieran?
ready.
The boy pop. Are you ready?
I think we went through one of the hardest panel of judges. I think I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Kieran, is there any aspect, component, anything in our community that you feel that we are not shedding light on, that you think we need to shed more light on?
I I think one thing that sometimes we need to do, and it's something that worked here in Philadelphia when when the spotlight came on me, um, I realized that I wanted to do so many things, but I was not doing one of the most important things, shutting up and listening. Listening to the community, listening to what people needed. Um, it was not just about doing things. It was about doing the things that people needed. This what spaces they needed. And I think that sometimes what we forget in the community is listening. Uh, as title holders, we are both leaders, but also beacons. And people look at us, not just because, we are special. Or I never consider, when people tell me like, oh, you are, when people tell me like, oh, you do amazing, you are an amazing person, you do special things. I don't think I do special things. I think I do normal things that people need. But at the same time, my final goal is, running the pet night and having that one kid, that one person coming and telling me, I had an amazing time. I felt safe. I felt welcome. Thank you for doing this. That's my thing. And that is possible because I listen. So I think that sometimes we need to listen a little bit more and make sure that um, everybody is part of that conversation. And I think it's also one of the few conversations that we're gonna have as a title holders where we don't talk. We just listen, and we make sure that everybody, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what you do, what events you run, what events you host, or what fundraiser you're doing. We want people to be safe and feel welcome, because that's always been my thing as a person that has not had problem on feeling accepted or welcomed, or a person that has been in spaces where I haven't felt safe. Now that's my must. Um, and I think that's fundamental. So what I usually say to new title holders uh, is take a moment and listen, because will come to you and they're going to talk, and you have to understand what are their needs.
That was really good, Keron. That was like, I don't know. I felt like I was on like, I don't know. I felt like I was like on a show or something, or maybe a contest.
Well, this is your show. Like, you are the host.
Like, all right, like that was a good, well put together, and actually a very unique answer. We have not had that answer. Hearing, listening, baby,
Listening.
that is this.
We for me, it's something that came with the age, because I always been very chatty. I'm very chatty. I can talk with walls, okay, and the wall will answer to me. But when I was a kid, I was constantly chatting, and not listening. And I think I had a lot of missed opportunities, or sometimes I'm not being understood for that reason. I'm loud, I'm sassy, I'm the person that I am, but definitely nowadays, before being the loud and sassy, just 1 second before, I remember that there are moments that I have to listen.
Thank you. I hope the world listens to you. We can only help. All right, y'all. Well, that brings us to the end of this episode of Throwing Light. I want to thank Keron the Boy Pup, my fellow IML sibling. Someone I'm excited to continue to grow, and I hope to see each other soon in our travel plans. But other than that, y'all, that has been Throwing Night. Next Sunday, we are going to have Pussycat Onyx on, and
Oh
you
my God, yes.
this cat honestly is, baby. Well, I'm just going to stop here. You better watch the show next week to find out. All right, y'all. Remember, if you're not throwing light, you're not acting
You
right.
ain't doing right.
All right, let's see.